put it back in its place next to Bobby's pencil cup. That was taken after we won the 1962 Midwest Regional Women's Field Hockey League Championship, Bobby said, as she pulled the chair from behind her desk and set it next to Keo's. The last thing she wanted was the desk acting as a barrier of age and authority between them. She intended to follow that book's recommendations, to appeal to Keo as an adult instead of treating her like a child. Keo wielded tremendous influence over her teammates, over all Metamora, in fact. If Bobby could persuade Keo to champion Angle, her job as coach would be a lot simpler. "That's you in the middle," Keo indicated a smiling, tousle-haired Bobby. "You look so young." "Do I?" Bobby studied the photo. "It's funny, I don't feel much older now. In fact, I'm at my wit's end with the situation on the team, and I'm here to ask for your help." Keo's eyes glowed. "I'll do anything I can to help you, Coach Bobby." "Could you be friends with Angle?" Keo's face changed as swiftly as a prairie sky when a fast-moving storm approaches. "Angle," she repeated. "Look, I know that was quite a blow you just took. I know you didn't deserve it. You probably didn't realize that exposing her private problems like that was the worst thing to do." A small smile twitched the corner of Keo's mouth, and Bobby stopped, aghast. Keo had known exactly how provoking her words had been. What was the cause of this deep-seated enmity for Angle? "Keo," Bobby changed tactics abruptly. "You don't really think Angle stole your locket, do you?" "I honestly don't know," Keo declared. "But I do know she's had it in for us Daughters of the American Pioneers girls ever since she got here. She's a troublemaker. You saw how she behaved during the game with the Holy Martyrs. She's just not a team player. Honestly, Coach Bobby, don't you think the team would be better off without her?" "What about your pass to Annette the fourth quarter when you bypassed Angle?" Bobby pointed out. "That wasn't very good teamwork either. Should I kick you off the team?" "Oh, you're always defending her," Keo broke out bitterly. "You're always giving her special coaching, having those long talks, just the two of you, treating her like your special pet." "Why, Keo's jealous." Bobby was dazed by the sudden realization. "I work like a dog to get the girls to come to the extra practices and make them do their drills. I'm behind in organizing the Regional Daughters of American Pioneers luncheon. I've fallen asleep at a prefecture meeting. My grades are starting to slip, and you don't even notice." "Why, Keo, of course I notice. I couldn't get along without you as my captain." Bobby hastened to reassure the resentful team queen. "And if I've leaned on you so much that your other activities are suffering, we'll certainly have to make some changes." "Oh, I don't mind," Keo interrupted. "I'm willing to do anything for you, if only you could see me as more than the captain of the squad." Keo was leaning toward Bobby, her face flushed with passion. Her lips were parted, and her breath came quickly. The hockey coach was suddenly struck by the teenager's uncanny resemblance to her Aunt Dot. She put out a hand to restrain the panting girl, but Keo snatched it eagerly and pressed it to her breast. "You think of me as a schoolgirl, but I feel like a woman." Bobby's blood ran faster, and she found herself breathing shallowly as her body responded against her will to this radiant creature who had slid out of her chair and was kneeling before her. "Keo, Bobby rose to her feet as she spoke, intending to beat a hasty retreat behind her desk. But Keo rose with her, and instead Bobby found herself backed up against it. Bobby gripped the edge of the desk with both hands to keep herself from reaching for the captain of the Savages. The force of her sudden desire was like the heavy pressure of a raging river on a fragile earthen dam. Like the caretaker has forgotten to open the sluice gates. "I can't be satisfied anymore with pashes or exchanging mash notes or even fooling around in the bicycle shed. Since you came to Metamora this fall, you're all I think about, all I dream about." Keo bit her lower lip with pearl-like teeth. "Maybe you think there's something wrong with me." "There's nothing wrong with you," Bobby hastened to reassure the ardent student. "At your age, it's perfectly normal to have crushes." She smoothed Keo's hair back from the girl's flushed face in a gesture meant to be motherly, but somehow her hand slid down Keo's back to her rounded buttocks. And Bobby gave the girl tasted the salty sweat on the K.O.'s neck. She scarcely heard K.O.'s low moan of delight. The scent of teenage sweat had suddenly transported Bobby back in time to her freshman year at Elliott College, when her craving for Madge Madison, the assistant field hockey coach, had driven her half mad. Then came that wonderful day when Madge took her to the nurse's room to tape up her twisted ankle. Bobby still couldn't say how it had happened, but one moment Madge was all business, and the next moment the roll of tape was on the floor and she and Bobby were kissing each other hungrily. K.O.'s mouth was a voracious vortex of pleasure. Her hands were in Bobby's hair. Bobby yanked open the teen's white uniform blouse, and K.O. gasped in startled excitement. Bobby had been unable to believe her good fortune that afternoon, as she and Madge shed their hockey kilts and Madge taught her the rules and regulations of this new sport. And when Madge had pushed her down on the paper-covered exam table, blindly, the young coach swept the surface of her desk with one arm, pushing pencils and paper out of the way. She hoisted the quivering center onto the desk. K.O.'s kilt was hiked up around her waist, and Bobby stood between her firm thighs, feverishly fondling the full young breasts as she probed her captain's mouth with an avid tongue. K.O. clung to Bobby with one hand and braced herself with the other, her breathing uneven. I want, she panted when they came up for air. I think I know, muttered Bobby. K.O. fell back on the desk, pulling Bobby astride her. Dimly, Bobby heard the metal stapler clank on the floor as she concentrated on the supple, athletic body beneath her. It was like being hit by a hurricane, she thought that day. The Bobby she knew had been wiped out and rebuilt like a small Kansas town after a tornado. Madge had taught her things about her body and physical capacities she'd never figured out on her own. Maybe that's when I was bitten by the teaching bug, Bobby thought. I didn't realize it. Oh, cried K.O. Oh. While Bobby had been wool gathering, revisiting happy memories, habit had kept her hands busy, and now K.O. lay spent and satisfied beneath her. Feeling better? Inquired Bobby, just as Madge had asked her 5 years before. She helped K.O. sit up, remembering how her own muscles had felt like jello as she staggered off that faraway exam table. Oh, yes, said K.O., then added dazedly, is that someone at the door?